Good evening, everybody. I hope everyone's having a good week. For this week's for this week's poem that I'm going to be reading, it's based off a prompt by the constant poet Michelle Awad. Back on May 21st, she created a post. She created a post. Your birth month equals your poetry cliche, and I had to scroll to the very end to reach December and the prompt something holy, with the task of writing a poem that treats something deeply ordinary as sacred. And this is this is my attempt to do so. And it goes a little something like this. Something holy, something new. Every time I slip the bracelet on my arm, the word stares back at me. Feral, feral, with a heart locking in friendship, as if I'd been searching for a sign of belonging. Now it's imprinted in my skin, a symbol of two poetic journeys, two people crossing streams, coming together off screen, the Guelph poet and OP writer, something to remind me of her boundless joy, her endless empathy. This is a moment I'll look back on fondly, with inspiration in every word written. This isn't just a little. This isn't just a piece of plastic. I carry a little piece of a little feral. So yes, this poem. So we have to go back to the night of May 11th. It was the night of Maria Giesbrecht, aka the Guelph Poets, book tour for a little feral, for her debut poetry collection. And on May 11th, she stopped in New York City. Specifically, she stopped at the Astoria Bookshop in Queens. And from the moment she announced that her book tour was coming to New York City, I did not even have to give another thought to saying yes, I would be there. Because to this point, our only interactions have been through her through calls on as part of her poetry writing group Gather on Sunday mornings, when I've been too nervous to read my poems, and did so in a halting tone of voice every time, and reading her poetry and the occasional after poem in response, due to the fact that I was so moved by the words that Maria wrote. So there was no way in the world I was gonna let the opportunity to meet her in person after all this time go. And admittedly, I was so nervous, because here she is, like, her debut poetry collection, Article in People magazine, like numerous other literary journal submissions, her own poetry platform, and I kind of felt a lot of the comparison trap, given even with my own like plaudits, I kind of felt a little bit starstruck and awestruck at being in her presence. And as I got off the subway that evening, I was worried that I was going to be late end up getting lost trying to find the bookshop, and lo and behold, the exact moment that I arrive there Maria is in all her bubbly glory, and it just like felt like I was already in a bit of a heightened state of emotion as it is, but it was just like I felt that sense of release like begin to come through. So she did have she she did have her appearance with fellow poet Trev Szymanski. They did do readings, separate poetry readings. There was a discussion, and at the end of the night came the book signing. There would, of course, I was gonna buy her book, since, like, in a way, the poems have been worked out through the winter cohort of Gatherer. So in a small way, I've been kind of bearing witness to the process happening, and even when it came time to get to the end of the line, I burst out into tears the moment I got up to her again, because I like that sense that like I was so awestruck of being in her presence, which is eminently stronger than it is virtually. And it was just, it's rare that I get to have in person interactions with people, let alone fellow poets. And to just be there, given the fact that I was a bit of an emotional wreck the entire day, because it happened to be the day that my sister left for her trip, and I was dealing with all the emotions with that at the same time. Like, she could not have been any nicer, kinder, and the fact that she autographed my book too. Oswald, keep writing, friend. Like, to have like that, like, depth level of connection with someone you don't really know that well, other than through her poetry, to like have that depth of connection, to me that's priceless. More than all the trips that I go on, more than whatever money I could ever earn in my lifetime. To like have that sense of like connection with people, and to at least have like sense of belonging, which this bracelet, even though like she had a few of them on her, like she gave me one of them, and like that alone made my day. And it's just that sense that like it felt I felt like I belonged somewhere. Like I felt like I belonged, which that more than anything else is what I want in this lifetime, in my lifetime, to feel like I belong to something. And I'm not just this whole quiet, reserved loner roaming through the world, predominantly in silence, surrounded by everyone else. Like I want to feel that sense that like I'm part of this world. And even though like in my eyes my poetry isn't even close to her or any of the other gatherers' caliber for that matter, like it feels like like I found a place of belonging with this group, being in Maria's presence. And that's why like ever since she gave me the bracelet, every day like I slip it on my arm, to carry that sense of feral energy and feral sense of joy with me wherever I go. I appreciate I appreciate moments like that more than she'll ever know, and that's why this bracelet feels like something holy. Well, everyone, that's it for this week's video. I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your week and have an amazing weekend. And I'll talk to you guys again next week. Good night, everybody.